much. Now I am definitely the greatest player to have ever lived. Greatest player to have ever lived. Please note, this video is only a bit of fun. I'm well aware of how much better Fischer is than me. Hello everyone, and after a rather dramatic intro, rather unnecessarily dramatic intro rather, welcome back to the channel. A month or two or maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I played a game against somebody on the internet whose name I have forgotten. And I found out that exact same game had been played by Robert James Fischer, the world chess champion in 1972, against Samuel Reshevsky. And Fischer had found the exact same combination that I had found. And that really made me feel good and still makes me feel good. So this is probably my best ever online chess game in which I played the same game that Fischer did. So without wasting any more time, let's take a look at the game. So I opened the game with 1e4, and my opponent, who by his chess profile seems to be rated 2014 FIDE, he played g6. Now, I would like to mention that Samuel Reshevsky against Fischer, the move was c5. However, this game just transposes. So g6 was played by my opponent. I played d4. He played bishop g7, knight f3. And here I half expected him to just go d6 and we enter a Pirch defense. But he played c5. And yeah, here I immediately realized that I could probably transpose into some Sicilian structure with knight c3. Which I did. I could have taken this pawn, which I found out about a few days back that actually I can take this pawn. But anyways, I played knight c3, my opponent took on d4, I took back, knight c6, and I played bishop e3, knight f6. And this is a big, oops, that was my mouse, which I have not broken, that's good. Yeah, so this is a Sicilian position, and it's a rather theoretical one, which I have checked at some point in my life, but I don't remember what exactly, what the computer and all was saying. But I've checked it at some point and I had some kind of knowledge of what was happening. So I just played bishop c4 here. I believe this is it's like that Fischer-Sozin attack or something similar to that. I don't really remember, to be honest. Short castles, I played bishop b3. And here my opponent started to go wrong. Here I believe you can play d6 in this position if I'm not wrong. And after that white has stuff like f3 and the game goes on. There are some big name games in these positions, but that's not of our concern. In this position my opponent played knight a5 and I played e5, gained a tempo on his knight. And here my opponent should have probably taken on b3, after which my position is still very pleasant. But he played knight e8, and this exact same position arose in the game Fischer versus Reshevsky, which we're going to take a look at in a bit, just see how they got to this position. And here's your chance to play what Fischer did, and now I can probably say play what I played as well, which is a very cute little combination here. See if you can find it. Pause the video if you want. If you don't want to pause the video and you just want to see the move, fair enough. I'm showing you the move right now. The move is bishop takes f7, and if you take with the rook, well, it doesn't do you any help because knight e6, and suddenly my queen is x-raying this pawn on d7, so you cannot take my knight because your queen hangs, and surprisingly your queen doesn't have anywhere to go, so you have to take with the king. But once you take with the king, I have knight e6, and after knight e6, well, your queen is hanging and you don't have c7, you don't have b6, my bishop covers b6, my knight covers c7. You can't take my knight with your pawn because suddenly your queen is hanging back there. So my opponent played king takes e6, and in this position Samuel Reshevsky, when he was playing Fischer, he took with the pawn, and yeah, Fischer picked up the queen and went on to win the game. But my opponent took with the king, and I just checked him on d5, king f5, g4, king g4, rook g1, king h4, queen e4, king h3, and after queen g4 check, my opponent resigned the game. So it's a game I'm very proud of. Few people on the internet have told me that it isn't a great game, but I love it myself personally. I mean, very rarely do I get a chance to play in the same footsteps of Robert James Fischer. And just to show you Fischer's game against Reshevsky, that actually came from the move order e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, they traded on d4, g6, bishop e3, knight f6, knight c3, bishop g7, and we get the exact same position that came in my game. But again, Reshevsky made this error of playing knight e8, and again Fischer took this pawn on f7, knight e6, d6, queen d8, and Fischer went on to win this game. He played a very nice game, to be frank, and yeah, he won the game. So yeah, I can successfully tell you that I'm probably not as good as Fischer is, but I do have one game where I have played just as good as he did. So yeah, that's the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and stay tuned for more chess.